Supreme Chancellor Obi-Wan Kenobi by Stone Freak. Chapter 75. Obi-Wan starts getting back into the swing of things. Being out of commission for 2 weeks when you're the Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic is ill-advised at best and a minor disaster at worst. If you add the duties of a Jedi General and a member of the Jedi Council on top of that, buried beneath flimsy notes and messages on quite a few datapads, Obi-Wan finds himself almost wishing he could go back to sleeping a few more weeks away. Still, there's a niggling in the back of his head as if he's forgotten something very important. But no matter how hard he tries to remember, he cannot for the life of him think of what it could possibly have been. He's missing some time between the meeting he had with Senators Biwa, Himesh, Hahanash, and Chuchi, and the brief flashes he remembers from after the explosion. Besides the flashes, his first memory is from waking up in the halls of healing. He'll need to meditate on it, see if he can somehow remember the missing pieces. He trusts his feelings, so he knows there's something in what happened that is very important, likely even more important than he can even imagine at the moment. He leans back in his chair, sighing and pinching the bridge of his nose. He grows tired far easier now than usual, since he's still recuperating from nearly losing his life. The Force is a powerful ally, and he can usually depend on it to help keep himself going for longer than what most humans can manage. But his body is still very weak right now, so he must refrain from pushing himself too hard. If he chooses to ignore his limits right now, his healers are likely to be very cross with him, which will no doubt end up being more trouble than it's worth. He shifts out of his chair and hobbles over to the couch instead, lying down with a deep sigh. He hasn't been taking this many naps since he was in the creche, but it is what it is. The door slides open, and through the Force, Obi-Wan feels the familiar presence of Blast entering the room. With him comes the aroma of tea, breaking through the smells of the flowers and greenery in the room.
General?
Blast's voice is soft, clearly trying to see if Obi-Wan is awake without waking him should he be asleep.
I'm on the couch, Blast, just taking a nap,
he mutters, trying to keep his exhaustion out of his voice. He just woke up. He shouldn't still be tired. Blast's footsteps come closer, and then he's there, kneeling by the side of the couch, holding a cup of tea.
Tea, General?
He holds the cup out, and Obi-Wan struggles to sit up with a wince.
That's very kind of you, Blast. Thank you. You know you don't have to bring me tea.
It's almost awkward how his men have been waiting on him since the explosion. It's not in their job description, but they do so anyway.
I know, General, but I also wanted to see if you're feeling all right.
Obi-Wan smiles and accepts the teacup.
Thank you, Blast. I'm feeling just fine, merely a bit tired.
The easy camaraderie they once had is strained now, awkward and fumbling, and Obi-Wan has no doubt that it's entirely due to recent events. Obi-Wan can only begin to imagine how Cody must feel. The man has been by Obi-Wan's side longer than anyone else, and he always does take failures like this rather personally. Besides, he almost lost both Boyle and Waxer as well. It can't have been an easy few weeks for Obi-Wan's men, not at all. He winces slightly as he takes a sip from his tea, breathing deeply and attempting to find some calm, some peace. It's difficult to consider how close it was, knowing that he almost died. He's not in particular afraid of death. It's merely another facet of the way of the galaxy, and returning to the Force is what all living things do sooner or later. However, he's not particularly eager for it either. He enjoys living. Well, for the most part. He's not especially fond of being at war, nor being the Supreme Chancellor. But he would certainly not want his friends and loved ones to miss him, or be sad for losing the chance to make more memories together. More than that, though, he has a mission right now, something so vitally important that he simply cannot allow himself to pass on. Not yet. Still, he wonders what it is he's forgotten. There is something. He knows there is. Likely he thought of something around the time of the explosion because he is missing time there. All of it is so hazy, but is gone now. Only the feeling of once having had the thought remains. The fact that he now has a million more things to try and sort out. You're never really off work when you're the Supreme Chancellor, are you? Likely does not help at all. Quite the opposite, Obi-Wan is quite sure. Still, it's unlikely that he'll be able to force it, no matter how often he comes back to it, no matter how much he dwells on it. He will either remember, or he won't.